Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today we've got a cold brew in one hand and an axe in the other as we get ready to watch a mirror matchup between Daut in red and Modri in blue, both playing the same civilization, the Khmer on Black Forest. Now if you're not familiar with Black Forest, I'm going to zoom out. Apologies to anyone on a smaller screen. This is a map, the majority of which is covered by, as you guessed it, forest. Lots and lots of forest. 730,000 wood ripe for the taking. Now generally there is 1, 2, maybe even 3 avenues of attack between the players. Very easy to wall off, but very, very contested. In this map there is only one location where the players can engage into each other's bases, and Modri is the first to reach the mouth of this alley with a very aggressive wall off. Now while the players start fighting with villagers, as sometimes does happen on Black Forest, let's take a look at the Civ. I'm not going to say Civ matchup because, again, this is a mirror matchup where both players, take a look at the top of your screen, are playing the Khmer or the Khmer, depending how you want to pronounce it. Now, the Khmer are a civilization that focuses on some of the heaviest hitting units in the game. Their scorpions come with extra range, can be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Their battle elephants move faster and can be upgraded to hit even harder with an extra +3 attack. And their unique unit is thought by some commentators, myself included, to be one of the most annoying hard units to deal with in the game. I am, of course, talking about the ballista elephant, which, as it sounds, is an elephant unit with a giant ballista mounted on its back that, by the way, can also be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Now, to take advantage of these bonuses, these upgrades, these units and features, the Khmer have to get up to Castle and Imperial Age ASAP, in my opinion, with a lot of food in the bank. So to help them do this, first, the Khmer do not need structures to go up to the next age, meaning as long as you have the resources, 500 food to get to Feudal, 800 food, 200 gold to get to Castle, you can go up. You absolutely do not need to have the requisite buildings. If you take a look up at the top of the screen, where usually you see 2 little houses that get filled in as the players, build a barracks, a mining camp, a lumber camp, etc. The Khmer can go up as long as they have the resources. Now, the second they go up to the next age, all buildings from that age become available to them. So, for example, you absolutely do not need to build a barracks in order to be able to build a stables. And lastly, one of the coolest features of the Khmer that makes them incredibly powerful in the late game is their farmers absolutely do not need to drop off food at a mill or a town center. So as long as they're working that farm, you'll see, I'll show you once we actually, do we have any farms out yet? Obviously not, way too early in the game. Once we have some farms out, I'll show you how the food just basically accumulates 1 unit at a time. Now, the Khmer villagers are also very hard to raid because they can garrison inside these guys, these houses. So once the danger is past, they can come back out, get back to work. Now, while I've been talking about the Khmer and Black Forest, there seems to be a giant scuffle here in the middle of the map. We've got 5 villagers from Daut and his scout cavalry trying their darndest to get rid of this house. Oh, look at the HP. It looks like it's fluctuating between 20 and 30, but Modri brings another villager, should be able to start repairing this up. Now the 30 has become 50, 60, slowly will become 70, 80, and that is a very good hold here by our blue Khmer, rather, not Khmer. My brain froze between saying Khmer and Khmer, which is why that word came out. So take a look. In Black Forest, generally, there's a lot of contesting of this center. Oh man, this house is red absolutely trying to get this house, man. But yeah, in Black Forest, there's usually a lot of contesting of whatever alleys, whatever corridors separate the 2 bases, because anyone who takes control over this essentially, in theory, dictates the pace of the game, dictates the offensive pressure that he or she can put on. And one of the cool features about Black Forest is there's usually some inlay field with some extra resources. In this case, you've got a snow leopard just guarding 3 wild boars. So whoever manages to get into here, if they actually do, usually they don't, gets 1,000 food. Whoever manages to bust into here gets a few more resources. And another super cool thing, let's check before we get into that. Okay, so take a look at the HP of the house. Starting to get repaired with 3 villagers. Another cool feature is these guys, lakes. Now, back in the day, back in the 90s, early 2000s, I absolutely remembered lakes not being used at all, especially in deathmatch games. But now the meta has changed a little bit. If you watch any of my live casts of Rage Forest, which I think is just a version of Black Forest, you'll see that pro players and everyone else does. They do make use of these lakes with docks and fishing ships, etc. There's usually a few, 2 or 3 shorefish. In this case, I guess the map is a little bit smaller. This is gross here for Modri. This is a very ugly lake. Going to be hard to put fishing ships here, but I guess to compensate, he does have 1,000 extra food here from these wild boars. But we'll have to take care of their chaperone first, the snow leopard. In any event, 9 minutes into the game, both players still in Dark Age. Both players still trying to contest the center of this corridor. 5 villagers, 1 scout, taking on 3 villagers in a house. The house slowly going up. Blue wasting a lot of wood repairing this house. Red wasting a lot of idle time trying to get this house knocked down. 5 villagers is not exactly a small amount. So take a look, by the way, at Red's food count at the top left of your screen. 361, 362, 363. As long as she continues to work on this farm, she does not have to drop off any food. This house now looks like it's basically in perfect health. And Red.Daut is first to click up to Feudal on the back of 26 villagers, 28 in production for Modri, who I guess lost his scout in the scuffle here to control the corridor, and therefore has to go a little bit off campus with his hunters, so that these poor ibexes have to be killed a little bit further away. Let's see, he is 200 food away from going up to Feudal himself, but I suspect once this meat, this venison, comes back to the town center, he will be able to click up to Feudal. The problem for him, Daut, is going to have a serious time advantage here. Basically the entire upgrade time, or enhancement time. I don't know what you call it, actually, when you go up in age. Is it an upgrade? Is it a... Let me know in the comments below what the exact wording of it is. For now, though, it looks like the hunters are returning. Triple boar lure. Modri going beast mode. What was this? A little piggy died. These boars are super confused. The person they were chasing has absconded into the town center, so they don't know what the hell is going on. And sour for Modri, 15, 18 food away from going up to Feudal. Daut is now in Feudal. Modri 2 minutes behind. Daut immediately putting down a watchtower. Modri has to retreat. Nothing he can do right now for the next 2 minutes to defend against this. Does not have stone walls. Does not have anything that can contest the placement of a tower. Daut, in the meantime, 3 villagers on stone, has amassed 225 stone, which tells us that Daut intends to do some kind of tower attack here, whether it's a rush, whether it's an all-in commit, whether it's something. We leave it up to Daut to show us. For now, he's improving his lumberjacks. A minute away from Modri. He has survived. Sorry, guys, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. I think the air is just a little dry in the room. Another tower being placed here by Daut. He really wants to bust into Modri's base. My question is for Daut, why? You've got 5 villagers here, 6 now, but you've got no army to speak of. But right as I say that, he builds starts producing archers. And so let's take a look. Another cool feature about Black Forest is generally, even in pro games, they start the map, if you take a look, on explored. So everyone kind of sees where the resources are, where the relics are. You can see your opponent's base. You can see everything. The logic being that unlike Arabia, that's completely open, where you need to discover, you need to, be able to defend your base against early on attacks. Black Forest, again, because of these narrow alleys and because the players generally contest the control of these alleys, your base is nice and safe. Take a look. Blue completely unharassed. Red completely unmolested. Both bases just fully up and running. Daut with a 4 villager lead at the moment. Blue has stopped producing villagers. He is going up to fast castle at the 16-minute mark. Daut nowhere close in terms of resources to going up to castle. Instead, continuing to garrison these towers with archers and villagers. And so on explored, you can see exactly where the corridors are so that you can start contesting them, start fighting over them. But Modri has survived until now. He's got himself his own watchtower. It is taking a lot of damage from these towers, garrisoned by 3 archers. Another archer on the way, a 4th already out. I shudder to think what a tower with 5 archers in it will do. And now Daut, very, very aggressive, building a dock. No doubt we'll see some kind of transport out of this. He wants to get into here. But again, I ask, with what? Daut responds with towers and 5 archers. Modri circling the south of his lake. Now, finally, producing villagers again, or rather queuing up villagers to be produced the second he hits castle, which is going to happen right now. The problem is, take a look at Modri's score. He's down about 150 points. Daut knows that, immediately builds a transport, but Modri rushing up to castle so that he can get up a siege workshop. Not a bad idea here. Instead of defending a tower rush with towers, he is probably going to get a mangonel and defend that way. Look at him walling off the entire southern portion of his map. This villager needs to run away. She's going to get killed here by the tower. And now the transport ship is out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archers inside. And let's see, how far are we from a mangonel? We are very far away from a mangonel, still at 40%. But luckily for Modri, he has managed to wall this off. Luckily for him, these are not crossbows. These are not arbalests. These are not anything other than basic feudal age archers with a +1 attack upgrade. So now the mangonel will be out, and let's see how he manages. Daut sees it, immediately retreats. Transport takes damage. So you can see how, even though the kill count at the 20-minute mark of the game is literally 2, Daut has killed 2 units. Although now he takes Modri takes a kill for his first notch on his belt. But even though the kill count is so low, Black Forest games can actually be incredibly exciting, especially when you start contesting. I mean, take a look at this. Modri trying to get control of the outer rim of the corridor, then Daut moved in, with the tower. Modri walled it off. Daut hit Feudal first. Yeah, gate being constructed. So kill count is literally 3, which on Arabia would be absolutely ridiculous, absolutely low. In Black Forest, though, quite normal, because take a look at this. What an insane labyrinth of structures here, designed by one player to bust in, designed by the other player to make sure the other player doesn't bust in. 3 town centers going up for Modri. The Khmer boom in full effect for him. Daut, take a look at his food count, going up very, very quickly, 1 unit at a time, because he's got a bunch of villagers. Not too sure why he built a mill here. He doesn't really need it. You know, muscle memory. Why the hell not? So now Daut finally up to castle. The problem for him now, Modri has the time advantage, not militarily, because Modri doesn't really seem to want to push out at all. But the problem is 3 town centers here for Modri. 1, 2, 3 will be up long before Daut even has his second town center. Still a minute 48 seconds away from Castle Age Demo Raft. Let's see what kind of damage this guy can do. We're now on patrol command, trying to mess with the the targeting of this mangonel. And let's take a look what the players have behind this. 45 villagers for Daut, a market, a blacksmith, and again, you see he's got a archery range. Not a single barracks in sight. One of the incredibly cool features of the Khmer. Okay, he's moving forward. Never mind. Mangonel retreats, wisely staying behind this palisade gate. real game of cat and mouse here between this Mangonel and this Demo Raft. This Demo Raft, though, accomplishing its mission right now. Daut needs time. And the more Modri focuses on this Demo Raft, the more time Daut has to catch up and just be completely unharassed himself. 50 villagers for Modri, going up to what, 54. Market and a siege workshop for him. But now Daut is in castle. Looks like the Demo Raft did take a little bit of mango fire here. Okay, Daut looks like he's maybe gonna micro this. Or Modri, rather. Looks like he's gonna micro this. Let's see. Demo Raft stop. Demo Raft explodes. Damages some walls. But take a look at this. Daut hitting castle. 1, 2, 3 town centers going up for him, but Modri already building his 4th. and his second and third, like I said, up much, much quicker than Daut's, which means he's got an 11 villager lead right now. A scout very aggressively attacking a palisade. A big man on campus here using his might to take down a few sticks. Now moving forward, seeing that Modri has literally no static defense here that can fire on him. No castle, no tower, just a mangonel circling to the right side. Has Daut doesn't know where the mangonel is, so it can literally appear at any moment. Take a look at his vision, completely in the dark is Daut, but Modri doesn't seem to be interested in being aggressive at all, continuing to boom his economy. More and more houses going up for him. He's at 80 supply in terms of available population space. And things like this, you know, you can ask, why do they place the farms close to town centers if they don't need to actually drop any food off? And this is just a strategic point. I mean, you can put the farms next to houses because, remember, they can garrison villagers in houses. But if this base comes under attack, your farms are always well placed next to a town center, so you can actually retreat into that town center in the event of any kind of action, any kind of aggression on the part of your opponent. Daut now 14, 15 villagers behind, although now 13. So slowly, Modri's lead is expanding in terms of villager count. He's going to start collecting relics. Usually there's 2 relics apiece, and then a third, or rather a fifth, somewhere else out on the map. So 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one here. Or maybe not. Maybe there's just 4 relics on this map. No, there's the 5th one. Okay, so Modri spawning a shittier water map, but getting 3 relics to his opponent's 2. But Daut in Castle Age now coming out with a mangonel of his own. He's got 9 villagers on stone still. So we know what that means. He's probably going to want to plop down a castle at some point. Not a bad idea. Although this corridor very congested right now. Not a lot of space for a castle. So he might just have to place it outside his base. Moving forward with 3 mangonels. But I ask again with Daut, you are trying your darndest to bust into your opponent's base. The question is, to what end? To what follow-up? He's got 7 archers, unupgraded, still with just, okay, I guess they got him a +2 attack. A random house outpost combo here for blue. He does not want to get sideswiped. Remember, the very few units in Castle Age can bust through a forest. So one of the, if you watched our live casts where we did Rage Forest, one thing that I harp on is these kinds of wall-offs in the middle are absolutely fantastic for the early stages of the game. Later on, once onagers come out and other units that can demolish trees come out, they can just go around this, or they can just bust their way into here. Now, the Khmer are the, I shouldn't say the only, but the ballista elephant of theirs. So if Daut, who now has 700 stone, as I suspect he's going to plop down a castle at some point once he realizes that, the ballista elephant is actually one of the few units, if not maybe the only unit in Castle Age that can actually knock down trees. And so the first player here, either Modri or Daut, who gets a ballista elephant, will just be able to go completely around these defenses or try to open up a second front, which is why Modri, you see, is wisely building outposts. Daut not really caring because he knows, there it is, he knows that he's going to be the one putting on the aggression. And so why would he care about any kind of counterattack? Although always good idea to care, because if your opponent has just been booming, you don't know that. We know that. We have the God's Eye caster view, but this is what Daut sees of Modri's base. I mean, obviously he doesn't see the farms, but he sees nothing. It's all in the dark. 2 mangoes versus 2 mangoes. Where's his third? Where is that third mangonel that Daut built? Oh, it busted its way in here through this opening in the southern lake gate. And now Modri has to run away. He's got to, at least from this position, he's got to wall himself off a little bit, which is not terrible on Black Forest. So yeah, okay, so there you go. So he's ceding control of this entire part of the map to Daut. We'll see if that's temporary. We'll see if that's permanent. We'll see if that comes back to bite him in the butt. Both players going up to Imperial. Modri a full minute and a half ahead of his opponent, and we've got ballista elephants. My god, are they annoying to deal with. Take a look at this. It's literally an elephant with a ballista mounted on its back, moving forward. We'll see what kind of damage it can do. Modri, very, very confident. Oh yeah, look at this. This is exactly what I was talking about. One of the only, if not the only, units in Castle Age that can do this and bust away. Okay, I guess he heard the excitement in my voice and decided to not continue with it. Modri, let's take a look at what he's building. 7 army supply, building more and more pikemen, 2 more mangonels in the production tab, 129 villagers going up to 144, getting the onager upgrade, conscription, gold shaft mining. Daut, for his part, is getting mounted upgrades. He's getting husbandry, he's getting bloodlines, he's getting scale barding armor, 10 seconds away from Imperial. But take a look, exactly. You see what the elephant did here? This is why in the early stage of the game, you want as much defense, static defense as possible. But in the later stages of the game, you have to have some flexibility in Black Forest. It's a map that a lot of people don't like. A lot of people don't like the idea of having a narrow choke point. They want a map like Arabia, or you know, the clearing map, or runestones, or all these maps that are completely open, where the players basically have to decide how and where to engage into each other, as opposed to Black Forest, which basically dictates that for you. Oh, these archers spent the entire time in the tower. Get out and take an immediate volley to the face. I, on the other hand, absolutely love Black Forest. Oh, what a beautiful attack round here out of Modri with an onager, not a mangonel. So now we're in Imperial Age. Now there's more and more units that can cut down these trees. And Daut is on the run. Daut is on the retreat from how many pikemen? 10 pikemen. Any upgrades on them? Absolutely not. 0 upgrades on these pikemen. But Black Forest, a map that's seemingly very, very simple until you get to Castle/Imperial. And then all of a sudden, this map that was incredibly closed. Again, I'm going to zoom out. Take a look. Only one avenue of attack. Incredibly closed becomes incredibly open, because these onagers can decide to go through here. They can decide to be sneaky. Back in the day, in the 90s, you'd have players who invested basically 20 minutes to go up the side and then down the corner and then invade through the angled corner here for red. All of a sudden, red would be cutting down trees, and all of a sudden noticing these trees disappearing, and then all of a sudden paladins would just swarm his base. Not too sure where these three, where this very forward-facing Trebuchet thinks it's going. Okay, doesn't care to take a little bit of tower fire, knows that it's not gonna do any damage at all. Pike now halberdiers, but take a look at their HP. They're down 2/3 of their HP, and they're running face first into a castle. So let's see what kind of engage we can take here. You'd like to think that halberdiers are pretty good at taking down ballista elephants. They are surprisingly mediocre at doing so, especially when ballista elephants upgrade to fire a second bolt. But for now, let's take a look at the fight. Right as I say that, the halbs move forward, but again, look at their HP, and they're taking friendly fire from their own onagers. The light cav here decide this is the moment to pounce. Your halbs are out of position. Brilliant move here by Daut, who is now pushing forward, but taking a bunch of attack round shots to the face here, losing way too many ballista elephants. The pikemen move forward. More and more siege out of our blue player. 4 trebuchets, 4 onagers, but finally a Trebs coming out at rather 2. But Daut loses his castle at the front, has now 2 defensive castles, continuing to produce ballista elephants, going up to 19, 20 of them. Daut can probably hold this for a little bit, but the question is, how is he going to respond to these incredibly amazing, powerful attack rounds out of these onagers? I guess hoping that Modri doesn't do them is the right answer. HP on these ballista elephants, absolutely terrible. Light cav, not what you want fighting halberdiers. Now remember, the Khmer do have hussars, but doesn't seem like either player wants to upgrade. What are we working with here? Elite ballista elephant for blue, ballistics, blast furnace. He is going to have an army that packs an absolute crazy punch. Bracer and ballistics going up for Daut as well, rather being researched. And now Modri is supply capped at 200 supply, Daut at 150. He is literally 50 supply behind. His army count is half that of his opponent. But when your opponent is going full balls to the wall, pikeman, halberdier, I don't know that the supply count itself is necessarily indicative of much. Okay, avoiding one attack round. The problem is they don't really do that much damage to ballista, trebuchets, these ballista elephants, and now he's so focused on them that he's losing to attack rounds and halberdiers. Absolutely terrible move there by Daut. Not microing his ballista elephants, will lose, or rather should lose, another trebuchet to the front. It's literally 1 against 6. This is a hero trebuchet taking onager shots to the face. Modri does not care that he's doing damage to his own units. He knows that he smells the blood in the water. He knows that his opponent is on his knees. He knows that he's about to bust through this defense with this many trebuchets. Look at how much blue is streaming across the map. And by the way, these are elite ballista elephants fighting elite ballista elephants. When is the last time you saw that? That is incredibly cool. I don't know if anyone got double crossbow so that they fire 2 bolts. Let's see. This one definitely not. And let's take a look at red. Let's take a look at Daut's ballista elephants when they actually do engage, if they fire double. Yes, they do. You can tell because the bolts are on fire. Oh, I wonder what does more damage here, you know, 6 ballista elephants or a few more chakram throwers. If you saw my video from a few days ago, you know how deadly chakram throwers can be. Ballista elephants also incredibly deadly, but Modri seems to be pushing through. 57 army supply to 11. Daut is in trouble. What does he have to contest this? Absolutely nothing. He is throwing light cav into the face of halberdiers, into the face of ballista elephants, but more and more halberdiers are dying for blue, not being able to close the distance here. Oh, and now the 3rd castle for Daut has gone down. I don't think he's going to last very long here. Okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Black Forest map, Black Forest game. I don't know if your opinion about the map has changed. Like I said, a lot of people surprisingly absolutely just hate this map. I don't know why. I find it amazing that they can contest the corridor, but then at a certain point in the game, the map essentially becomes open. And all of your wall-offs, all of your defensive structures mean absolutely nothing unless you wall off the entirety of your base. It means nothing because, again, ballista elephants, onagers, anything that wants to can break through those trees. And in a mirror matchup like this, absolutely wonderful. I absolutely adore mirror matchups. I know there were a few comments. I think the last one I did was Spanish on Spanish violence, but there were a few comments that people don't really like mirror matchups. They like to see, you know, the different bonuses and features in play. I think a mirror matchup is actually one of the purest forms of Age of Empires, where, you know, you have no actual advantages over your opponent beyond the the base where you spawn. So for example, Daut had the advantage if he wanted to populate this with 6 or 7 docks, and Modri had the advantage in terms of having 1 extra relic. We'll see how much extra gold he got from that relic. Daut having also collected 2 of his own. Neither player really interested in busting into these spaces. The game didn't really last that long that they ran out of their own resources, although Daut did mine a bunch of stone. Oh, take a look at the top right of your screen. Double crossbow would have made these blue ballista elephants much, much more powerful, but he didn't really need it. He won the game. Let's take a look at the stats. 138 kills to 137. Wow. Almost identical. Modri killing a few more villagers, I think, towards the end here, once he managed to bust his way into Daut's base. Not really caring about the stables, the infrastructure that Daut placed here to the north. 11 stables. Fantastic infrastructure here out of our red Khmer. APM for Daut a bit more relaxed. Modri playing a bit of a faster paced game. 160 halbs against almost 80 light cav. Let's take a look if the relics played any role. They absolutely did not. Modri had literally 29 more gold than his opponent because of relics. Let's take a look at the resources. Wow. A lot more wood, but more food for Daut. More gold for Modri. Not that much, though. And stone count also basically 1 castle difference between the players. An absolute fantastic game. An absolute wonderful example of how Black Forest can quickly, you know, you defend. You fight over these corridors. It's a 20-minute mark of the game. As we saw, there were, what, 3 kills? And all of a sudden, the next 20 minutes are a bloodbath because the players are trying to bust out of the contain, bust out of this corridor and out onto the map. Modri, though, look at the vision he has. So he would have seen Doubt coming a mile away. Unfortunately for him, oh no, never mind. I was going to say, unfortunately for him, the north is not quite as visible. Probably would have done well to put one more outpost here so that he could see the any kind of attempt to incur into his base a lot earlier. And that event doesn't really need that. Elephant on elephant violence results in Modri taking the big W, but wow, what a fun game. GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.